What's good? Welcome to First String Podcast. On today's edition of First String Podcast, the NFL Combine has kicked off. Well, sort of. Let's just say this: general managers and coaches spoke today, and we'll talk about that. And said we'll debate later on in the show today about is it time to sit a rookie quarterback or start a rookie quarterback? We're gonna get into that plus a lot more. NFL Combine related and NFL quarterback related draft classes. That's what we're talking about. Y'all ready? Let's go.
Yeah.
First String Podcast. Yeah. True Danny. Dre on the beat. You know. Yeah. What's your favorite squad? Tell me who you going with. First String Podcast, yeah, we keep it lit. We got the latest updates, we don't pump fake. Like, comment, share, we don't care, feel free to hate. We got great guests, join us, you should chime in. Trudini on the intro for the time being. Lady A, representing Washington. Pick Washington, everything Washington. AntMoe coming out of Dallas, you know the business. Said, them Georgia Bulldogs ain't quitting. Yeah, if you ain't watching sports, you ain't living. About to get my mattress Mac on, about to bet $1 million, bet $1 million. Let's talk about it. We all grown and cool, we can talk about it. Before we hit the news, we gon' talk about it. Oh, you wanna bet? Let's pop a bottle about it.
What's good? Welcome back to First String Podcast. Do not forget to like and subscribe to First String Podcast. Hit the bell to enable alert for new content just like this. And the most important part is that you tell a friend to tell a friend about First String Podcast. Okay, Lady A. All right, first off, let me tell y'all this. You know, we all work regular jobs. Ced and Ant are running a little bit behind, but they will be here today, and we will have a packed house. Let's bring in the co-host with the mostest, HR. Hello, Lady A.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm pretty good.
How was your day? Chill.
I wish I could say that.
Cool. All right. A lot of FedEx is going out, huh?
Oh yeah, they're coming your way as well. And someone backstage in particular, I saw that last show.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go ahead and bring in our guy from William & Mary Bowie High alum, Alvin Porch. How are you, sir?
Man, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. How was everyone's day?
Doing great.
Wonderful, great. Alvin. Welcome. I'm sorry I missed you.
Hey, I'm sorry I missed you. But listen, I'm just glad to see you were doing. I saw that you were doing better on the show the other day, so I'm glad you're feeling better. So that's music to my heart. So that's all that matters. You're here tonight.
Yeah. So listen, sometimes when things like the draft happen, and I'm about to throw another topic in there as soon as we get this guest in here, you have to reach out to experts. So let's bring in the one and only Lou Holder. How are you, sir?
Hey, Lou.
Hey, what's up, peoples? How you feeling?
Doing real good. Hey, listen, if you are in and you're watching, hit us up in the chat. Let us know you're there. Bruce Glass and Don are in the building, of course. Here's Bruce right here. He said good evening to everyone. And then we got Don with his signature, Mr. So, like I said, Ant and Ced will be here. First things first, I got to ask this question. All right. So the NFL Combine has kicked off. Is right now, they're pretty much setting the table for free agents. They're talking to agents of players that are on their team. They're talking to possible free agents, talking to their agents and things like that. So that's pretty much what the NFL Combine is about.
Right.
Deals behind the scene happening, right? Lou, what is it like when you're there?
It's chaotic. It's basically, man, I'm trying to think of it's like back in the day when they used to have the Greek picnic in Philly and everybody was just on the Fairmount Park, the plateau. It was just a big bunch of just activity going on. That's what it feels like at the combine.
It's just everywhere you go, there's news.
There's news. There's things going on. There's again, I mean, the NFL is the best marketing tool there is. People running around and doing, all kinds of activity. The way they market that thing, because now they have symposiums, they have things around it. I mean, it's just more than. I actually think that just like the draft, the combine should be moved around from city to city. They could market that thing, and they could have so much interest in other cities. I know it's always been in Indianapolis, but I mean, the combine is so popular now. Like everything else with the NFL, if they moved that thing from city to city, they could monetize that thing. They could give stuff back to charity. Because Indianapolis, at the end of February, beginning of March, you had that thing in different cities, and people knew it was coming, just like the draft. I mean, it would be something. People would pack that thing out to see certain players and things of that nature. That's how big it's gotten. The marketing for the NFL is great, but as far as covering it and as far as the activity going on, it is just, there's something for everybody. It's like going to one of those food courts that's just like there's something for everybody.
Got you. Well, we got Ced here. Ced has arrived. Let's get him in here. How are you, Ced?
Hey, Ced.
Coming in hot. Coming in hot.
Coming in
hot. Coming in hot. Yeah, he's coming in hot. Yeah, we got these 9 to 5s. We got keep All right, so
my man said,
yeah, we got to come in hot sometimes. It happens. It happens sometimes. So let me ask y'all this. Okay, so this first question is, draft. We got the draft, and then after that is free agent. So over the weekend, they put out the salary cap, which means it's time to start using franchise tags. If for your team, if you had to place a tag on someone, who would it be? Right? For your squad, if you had to place the franchise tag on someone, who would you tag? Ced, I know you're coming in hot and you may not be ready just yet, so I'm gonna come to you second. But I usually come to you first. So Lady A. Come to you last. I got you. Come to you last. Okay, Lady A, who you place that franchise tag on?
So I'm just gonna put it out there. I am disappointed that there are no plans to use a franchise tag for my beloved Washington team.
Okay, we'll cover that.
So I do want to point that out. However, I would use that tag on Cam Curl. Definitely, that is somebody we need. Why did you look like that, Pitt? I think that is a must right now, especially given the nature of our team. So yeah.
Okay, you asked the question. Why did I look like that? So
yes, why did you look like that?
With the amount of cap space that we have, I'm not sure that you want to put him in the top 5, top 10. I could see, but placing a franchise tag on him is going to put him in the top 5. I think that's a little too much money right now.
They have the cap space to do so much, and you don't have a lot of leaders on that side of the ball right now.
I didn't say he wasn't a good player. I'm not saying that. I do think that Cam Curl is a must sign, right? But if I have to use the franchise tag on him, then I failed.
Right.
Because I'm gonna make him feel.
You're right. I mean, they're in talks with his people right now, and that's kind of where I was with it. They're in talks, but nothing has happened. So that's kind of where the stance I'm coming from with it, because they haven't solidified anything yet. So that's the reason for me having that tag. They have the cap space to do so much. So I feel like with Cam, you should do that just to make sure that you get it done. You can't lose another person.
All right, Al, for the Cowboys, who are you tagging?
Wow. Now that's a trick question, because who would I like to tag? The guy I would like to tag, we can't tag, because we're about to give Dak this crazy contract. So who I would tag would be Dak, because that way we would be able to keep this contract for one more year in place. as opposed to talking this $300 million contract that everybody's whispering about giving him to free, which we have to free up cap space because he's too much of a hit next year on the cap. So we got to re-sign him. So that's why I would like to but that's just because I have no other options. We don't really have anybody else this year that we're probably going to cap. But if I was to put in there, it would probably be somebody like a Micah, or so we can just give enough time to work out a bigger deal because the amount of money he's going to garner with his contract being an edge rusher and not a linebacker is going to be astronomical, or even CD Lamb. So, I mean,
Right.
like I said, good to get the word. And CD Lamb, I would tag him because I just want to
His
see him
contract
one
is
more
next
year.
year.
Yeah, his contract next year. So I mean, like I said, so we don't really have anybody that would fit just yet.
Right.
Like you said, no one that's I'll be willing to put in the top 5 who's not signed right now. But
Right.
those are the guys who would be, like I said, if I could do it, Dak would be the guy. Just so I can get one more year of freeing up freeing up that money to decide what we're going to do with him. But of course, he can't be tagged, and we can't tag him. So I mean, that's what I said. It's a difficult question. But like I said, in if I had to tag someone, that would be the people I would tag if they were tag eligible.
Okay,
Right.
Lou.
Well, I wanted to play this game, but I can't because.
Oh, that's right. You can't. That's
No,
right. You
no,
can't.
no. I can play the game, but I choose not to. For the simple fact is, there's no one on the Washington Commanders that I would want to tag. First of all, let me break it down. They won 4 games last year. Right?
Yo.
So no one made the Pro Bowl,
Right.
and their most consistent player was a punter. Okay. So everybody's off the table for me. If you are really talking about rebuilding, I don't care if it's Terry, I don't care if it's Jonathan, I don't care who it is. Like no one was worthy for me to put a tag on for any reason at all. Now, the reason why I am all right with that is that the reason why Adam Peters took this job is because of the cap space and because of the draft capital. And I don't expect him to use all of the cap space in 1 year.
No.
Right? So, if I understand what Lady A was saying, and she's going off of, I'm playing by the rules of toothpicks game, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to be a rebel and say I am not going to tag anybody because nobody is worthy of putting in the top 5 of whatever that tag. The franchise tag means that you are willing to just this is a player that you must have. There's no one on the Washington Commanders that I could say is a must have. There are likes. There are things that I would want. Like I would want to keep Terry around because he's a leader. I would want to keep, some people around that maybe are disruptive and everything like that. But when we talk about rebuilding in Washington, we really got to talk about a rebuilding, not putting paint over some bricks or something like that. You have to be able to say, hey, look, if we can't work it out with Cam Girl, bye. If we can't work it out with so-and-so, bye. Because the reason why the best acquisition in the offseason was Adam Peters is that Adam Peters found Brock Purdy. If he can find Brock Purdy, he's going to be able to find other gems throughout the league, year after year after year. So it's almost like you have to be able to and be willing to say, you know what? I'm okay with them stripping it down to its studs and starting all over again, because at least I know the foundation is going to be right. So when I hear franchise tag and the whole thing that we were going on with Kirk Cousins year after year, tagging him and franchising him and, maybe doing it with Payne and then doing it with Allen and then whatever, all that is over. All that is over. There's no one on this roster now that they are coming in and saying, hey, look, if we lose them, we're just going to be in dire straits. Nobody.
Okay, so
Lou said no one's safe.
So he's absolutely right because
I'm just being real. It's now
right.
Now that we have an adult in the room making football decisions, right?
Uh-huh.
And now that we don't have to be worried so much, I've never watching some of the coverage at the combine today. I've never seen more attention to a 4 and whatever team from the year before than I do with the Washington Commanders because of one person, Adam Peters. Adam Peters has brought stability instantaneously because of his reputation throughout the league. And part of that reputation is not putting franchise tags on people who don't deserve it.
Let me get with Lady A real fast. Here's the top 3 safeties in the NFL as far as pay wise.
Wait, are you just going to not acknowledge the fact? I mean, how is he not going to acknowledge me, lady?
That man dropped the knowledge right there, Pick. That man gave some knowledge.
Alvin and said, as a show host, how do you blow past?
I'm not. I'm coming back.
I don't know how.
I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
That man just said one of the smartest things I've heard from a Washington Commanders fan on this show. I
blow past that.
First off, let me get there now. Then
yes,
that was absolutely the
correct. It's too late. It's
right.
To play this game. That was the correct way to play this game for me and Lady A because I was not going to sign anybody to the franchise.
You didn't say that. You was going into the next point. Into the next point.
No, he just wanted to dispute what I was saying.
No. I was going to say the top. Here are the top 3 safeties by pay. All right, and I was going to ask you a question if you wanted to put Cam Curl into this stratosphere. You got Derwin James at $19 million. You got Michael Fitzpatrick at $18.24 million. You got Jamal Adams at $17.5 million. All of those are 4-year contracts. He's not there yet. He hasn't arrived to that point.
Right, but Pick, you asked me a specific question.
Yes,
I did. But you a specific answer,
the correct way to play the game.
Supported my answer.
That was the answer.
I like it, but I'm not ready to put him there. But the correct way to play the game for you and I was the way Lou played it. I'm not signing anybody to a franchise tag that won 4 games.
That's what Adam's doing. Adam is doing exactly that.
But I don't blame Lady A for being obedient and picking somebody because the host put in the rundown that you have to pick somebody.
Tell them again.
I didn't say you have to.
I just chose to be a jerk and not play the game.
Tell them again, Lou. I'm trying to do my job. Okay?
I've covered this team for over 20 years and I refuse. I refuse. If you are going to set me up, I refuse. On this date, the 27th of February in 2024, everything is new. And franchise tags and overpaying people and all that stuff is out the window.
So we got to ask Ced, now you had time to look at your roster. Who are you franchise tagging?
Nobody.
You say it.
Nobody? Says that I'm not playing the game either.
The Falcons are one of 3 teams who have least used the franchise tag. Guess what? There's nobody leaving this year who needs a franchise tag. These guys on 1-year and 2-year deals. Next year, this is Kyle Pitts' last year under his rookie contract for next year. Now, they could be trying, him coming off his ACL. Is he going to back to full potential? Who's going to be playing quarterback?
Right.
That's the most important question.
Number one. Because at that point, we'll know whether or not who we need to franchise the following year.
Okay.
This year, nobody's getting the years from the Falcons. Nobody.
When we get to our top 5 quarterback question, when we get there, say it. Remind me to hit you with some news that you may or may not like, that you probably already heard of. All right. So these position drills and everything like that will be going on here pretty soon. I want it from 2 different perspectives here. We got Al, former player, college football, and we got Lou Holder here, national journalist. He knows what he's doing and things like that. After let's say 12 college games, your senior or junior year, and numerous amount of tape after or your freshman and sophomore year and things like that. If you played, what is it that we could learn from the combine and you doing these drills?
That's me.
Yeah, Al, that's you first.
Oh, what can you learn? Uh, you can learn that a lot of guys put a lot of emphasis on things that don't really matter on the football field. I mean, I think the most important part of the combine experience for a lot of these teams and the players are the individual meetings. You get to sit down with the coaches, sit down with the players, sit down with the GM, and they actually get to talk to you. I mean, like I said, I mean, the running part, the drill part is good for the agility, but the the tape's going to tell them more than a guy who's been training for a certain number of events to do well in test time. And we all know about these combine warriors who don't turn out, who push their draft stock way up, but end up don't panning out to anything in the league. But I think the most important part, from what I've heard from the coaches and the people who have been involved in the combines, that sitting down and actually getting to talk to the actual players and meeting them has been the most beneficial part for a lot of the players and coaches that I've talked to about the combine experience.
So, Lou, I want to make sure I'm correct here. So, NFL scouts, they scout all year, but they really pretty much don't have too much personal interaction with the players until this is the first time that they could actually start to talk to the players and things like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, but it's to go on to Alvin's point. I mean, there's the on the
medical
stage,
Yep.
and then there's the backstage, right? And just like with spring football and just like with training camps and everything like that, that whole running drills and everything like that, that's for the fans. That's what, again, like I said, if you put this thing from city to city, fans would love that. Fans would love people running around and doing stuff like that.
Right.
They're even doing that more now in Indianapolis. They're having people come in and watch certain parts of it, but it's the meetings. You can tell by questions that people ask. I equate it to. Did y'all everybody see that movie with Kevin Costner called Draft Day?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a perfect example, how he's talking to the person, trying to find out about the person's life and things of that nature, the GM, just get a feel with somebody when you're in a high pressure situation that, it's like a job interview, right? The job interview. So parts of that, like Alvin said, parts of that are really, really beneficial, but you got to weed through it. It's now just become a tradition, whether you call it the underwear Olympics or whatever you calling it now. the part of it that even I heard some of the coaches say that you got to find somebody who, with the most important position on the field, the quarterback, who answers questions correctly in their eyes. I mean, that they're making that investment. So, you got to be able to answer a certain question. They have the skill set and everything like that, but maybe there's a question that you'd be like, oh, I didn't know that. And then you just put that in the back of your head for safekeeping. But I just feel that is, when you ask what you can learn, I think it's more of the mind and the mental makeup of the person than their physical activities. Because even if they drop a ball in one of these drills, I mean, come on, it's really, at that point, dropping a ball on a turf in Indianapolis versus dropping a ball in a national championship game or whatever. I mean, they're weighing all of that, but answering questions when you first get a chance to talk to some of these people, or a second or third time to find out if it matches maybe the first time that you heard them on an interview. That's what I think people are really looking for. These NFL people who know the game and know what they're looking for. That is why the NFL Combine still year after year is deemed beneficial.
Well, don't forget the medical part too, especially like with the quarterback, Michael Penix Jr. I think he's there really so true. So we can get medical, we can get height, weight, those type of things do matter, because this is the first time you get to lay those good hands on them. Go ahead, Al, what you got?
But I would say also, I think that from the physical standpoint, I think a lot of the times also what's beneficial for some of these teams is they see these guys on film and they want to see if the physical attributes match what they're seeing on film in regards to testing out too, especially for a lot of the latter round guys. For the big stars, guys who are bona fide first or second rounders, I think it may not be as important, but for like for some of these small for late round guys, marginal guys, and they got film on them to see if when they get to see them actually test out, if those things add up to what they're seeing on film and translates to the field. So if you do want to find some of the of the underwear Olympics, like Lou said, that is one of the beneficial parts, I think, other than just the meetings and the get to know and the actual meeting, so they get the interviews and everything they have with these guys. So from a physical standpoint, what I heard, those are one of the things they look for too. If what they see off on the testing matches what they saw on the tape.
And Alvin, I'll just throw in there. I think you can lose draft status just as easy as you can gain it. Like in these days, if you're not on time for a meeting, or if you don't show yourself to be a professional and know that, hey, look, for the off chance that somebody just doesn't look like they're ready for the next level, you can find that out at the combine too.
Yes, you can.
Yep.
So with that being said, everybody remember
Whoa, player. Hold on.
Go ahead, say it.
Don't give a man.
He blown through signals again.
Hold on. I'm going to agree and disagree with y'all on this.
Okay.
Because the fact that with the depth of NIL that's going on in colleges at this point right now, a lot of these colleges are opening, University of Georgia, opening the campus up. These coaches can come down here anytime and talk to players. I mean, of course, you can't talk numbers. You can talk to players. You can see these players. The thing about it is, a lot of these scouts who scout one region can't scout the other region like they're supposed to. So a lot of times, this is their first time getting eyes, besides playing time, eyes on these guys and see. This how come these guys like Hill come in running 4.23, 4.31. He was going to a small college. Who knew of cheated before he ran? He put those shoes on and ran in the combine.
Right.
I didn't. I'm not gonna say a lie. I said I did. You know what I'm saying? So some of these guys, this is their first time. But like they said, some of these guys lose money for not being prepared, which is kind of stupid, but it is what it is. Because like they said, in some ways it shows that they're not ready to go to the next level. But if you've been watching these guys all year long, if your scouts have been doing their job, I'm not talking about the Atlanta Falcons, they're not doing their job. If they've been doing their jobs and they have been preparing to see some of these other guys come into the combine, they already know. They've already done their work. They've already shown. They just want these guys to come in and show, can they do some of the stuff that they said with other people throwing the ball, not their own quarterback or not their own DB or not their own line coach. That's what they want to see. Can they take another scheme and try to do it? Go ahead, Lou.
Said, no, you brought up a great point too. I think part, and Alvin and Lady A and Pig, you can chime in there. I think part of the combine now is almost a lot of networking too, because you can see, like everybody knows that they looking to see what the Chicago Bears general manager is going to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of downtime when you're talking to people and everything like that, and the deals are made not just on the golf course, but they're made at the combine too. So people who want to jump up, like you see Sean Payton and what is he going to do with Russell Wilson and everything like that. So basically, you're almost there, kind of like with Jerry Maguire. You're shopping the person around, to find out, hey, look, here's my client, and there's a lot of dealing going on, and it's not just it's not just NFL. Like you got sponsors there. You have people there trying to make deals and everything like that. So it's a convention kind of thing too. So you gotta take into consideration what we see and what they let the media and the public see. That's only like the tip of the iceberg of what all is going on with forums and networking and dinners and stuff after the combine and schmoozing and whining and dining. And I'm not talking player to executive. I'm talking executive to executive, and GM to GM, stuff like that. All that is going on. People not just like they're testing the players, they're probably testing some of these other guys too. Like, hey, let me take this guy out to dinner and see where his head is really at with this pick, and then you'd be like, okay. When draft day comes, I know because we had that meeting with him. I think I'm going, package something and see if he'll jump.
I agree. Well, I completely agree. Yeah.
Hold on, real quick. When you look into the stands, when they doing these combines, look and see what groups are sitting together.
Yeah.
Well, they don't even have to sit together.
Some of them by themselves, some of them by themselves, some of them over here, some of them next to each other. And clock goes off, they all looking at the time. What you got? What you got? What you got? They compare because they're looking similar places. Well, like you said, they're making deals.
They are.
You know what, Lou? What you said was so true. And with a conference or that's networking, obviously, you usually have a job fair attached to it.
Yep.
And the job fair is the combine that we see.
Yep.
That's the job fair, with the players, the potential players, their meetings and things like that. But in general, it's a conference.
Yeah.
It's a conference. We may see after the combine, we may see some coaching moves. We may see some moves, just outside of those general players that we see.
Yeah.
We're going to see some things afterwards because of that.
Yeah, and it's not just that. I mean, let's look at some other sports. The NCAA, when they have their Final Four, they have conventions and coaches are talking to one another.
Yep.
Whatever. I mean, there's nothing that you can't do that in the NFL during the season, right? Because you're in the playoffs and everything. But afterwards, right? You can't do that at the draft because it's already done. This is kind of like their mini convention, like people who are in that front office area. This is where they get together, they talk and whatever. The only other time you might be able to do that in the NFL season is around the Hall of Fame, where people get together and talk. But after that,
no, you can't even do it during the Hall of Fame, Lou, because training camps are already going on. That's the
right, but I'm talking about gatherings of people like the Hall of Fame
everyone
players
in the same
and everything like that. When you're in season, right? But I'm talking about when all those people that have former NFL players or whatever, they go to support, the class that's coming in for the Hall of Fame, right? The NFL, I mean, obviously media week before the Super Bowl, that's another time, right? But as far as when the new league year starts and stuff and you're getting ready for a whole new league year and stuff, the combine is what they're used to. That's what they like to do.
Yeah, I agree. All the important people, all the decision makers they're coming together. So things happen when that goes down.
Speaking of which, what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Here comes your news. So, Lou, you mentioned the Chicago Bears GM. Everybody trying to figure out what they're going to do. So he made this statement, and reading it to what you will. We're going to do right by Justin Fields.
Alvin laughed at that one.
He said, "We're going to do right by Justin Fields." Say it. Does that mean Atlanta has a shot, or does it mean what do you take into that?
If Atlanta does not pull this trigger, it's this they're setting this team back for at least another 5 years. One of the things my brother said when we watched that draft with Justin Fields in it, right when Arthur Smith took over, one of the things that he and I were talking about is that they should have traded Matt Ryan that year. He was already going down, and he did not fit Arthur Smith's scheme.
Right.
Matt Ryan is not a running quarterback. He's not Tannehill who's going to take up a run from time to time. That's not Matt Ryan's thing. Right. But Arthur Smith said, hey, I came to Atlanta because Matt Ryan was here. Somebody else drafted because of Justin Fields. They traded Matt Ryan the following year. Why? Matt Ryan didn't fit the scheme. We already knew it.
Right.
You've missed out on a quarterback and you set it back 5 years. Guess what? It's been 5 years. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. You missed out on the cornerstone who fit the scheme for Arthur Smith. That cost. You can say what you want. Old boy cost Arthur Smith his job. They shouldn't have picked him in the first place. It is what it is. We were talking about, they were coming in and talking about Pickett had the smallest hands in the NFL. Was he going to be able to hold on to the ball? Ritter, in the few games he played, led the league in fumbles.
Yeah. Okay, says like you better pull the trigger versus and bring Justin Fields. What if this? Because Mike Tomlin has been making noise, and they're going into the season with your guy Pickett and your other guy at quarterback, Rudolph, right? What if Justin Fields winds up in Pittsburgh?
I don't think Pittsburgh. I don't think Pittsburgh will pull the trigger on Justin Fields. I think if Atlanta doesn't, I think the Raiders have a better chance of putting in Justin Fields than Atlanta. Okay, so I think Atlanta has better assets at this point because of draft position.
I like Russell Wilson more to the Pittsburgh Steelers than I think I do Justin Fields as well. Listen to me say, I'm just saying, a veteran quarterback Russell's over.
Yeah, Russell's
this
over.
Is the thing. It don't cost much to try. He's getting paid $39 million by the Broncos. He can sign for a veteran minimum. He can be a stopgap if Kenny Pickett's the answer, or we can draft. It gives them options. I don't like Justin Fields. He's not accurate enough. He can. I mean, we got weapons. Pittsburgh has weapons. Got a decent offensive line and a running back. But
I got a question.
You talking about the same Justin Fields that lit up the Washington Redskins?
Say now. That the Washington had no secondary. Listen, I got a question. Have you guys watched the Dynasty, the New England Patriots? Have y'all watched that yet?
Nope. I haven't watched all of it. No.
I wish I would watch anything of the Patriots.
Okay, wait. The reason I asked this question is because when Tom Brady first got into the game, when he first became the starter, Drew got knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense said they had to step up and they could run the ball because Tom said it. He says, I wasn't me yet. I was still learning, but I knew that I did not want to go back to the bench. And then he said, I wasn't giving it back. So with Pittsburgh, to Al's point, with Pittsburgh, we all know they have a defense and their defense shows up every game. And we do know that they need to fix their running game, right? And they have wide receivers, but it allows Justin Fields to become who Justin Fields can become and not put all that pressure on him right away. And I understand what you're saying with Russell Wilson. It's pretty much the same thing. You could let Russ take a step back and run the ball, let the defense do what they do, and let him become the Russell Wilson of old when you didn't have to rely on him like in Seattle.
And I think Russell does better with a defensive-minded coach because it kind of lets Russ cook in a sense. Yeah. When he's micromanaged by an offensive style coach, I think it points out too many of his flaws, and he can't cook. But the only reason I laughed earlier, Pick, when you first asked this question, because Chicago says they're going to do what's best for Justin Fields, but Chicago, we all know, is going to do what's best for Chicago. So let's not make that mistake. And Justin Fields can say where he wants to go, but it's going to be who puts the best package together to Chicago that they like. And Justin Fields will be going wherever they think is best for them, not him. So let's do.
Don't think that's not going on right now at the combine.
Absolutely, and that's why Justin Fields took all of it down. That's why he took it all down before he went on vacation, because he said he wanted a clear mind while he was on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Lady A, what do you read into that? Chicago doing what they're going to do best for Justin. What do you read into it?
I mean, I don't care what field it is. I'm gonna take it to an HR perspective, and I agree with you, Alvin. Chicago is going to do what's best for Chicago.
And they're supposed to.
And they may have a conversation with Justin Fields, but that's not the final say. The final say is, how does it benefit them? That's where they are. Yep. So they can say what they want to say. I've heard many things from higher ups of many different companies, and they all tend to give you the same thing. They want to look out for your well-being or your personal or professional growth. We're a family, things like that. When it boils down to it, it's about what's green
And what can
and
you
in
do
their
for me?
pockets. So
And what can you do for me? Yes.
that's nice that they said that. That was really sweet. But when it
Okay.
comes down to it, I don't think so. Where Justin Fields lands, I pray that they're able to do right by him while he's there. That's kind of where we have to skip over what they're going to do wherever he lands. We can just hope that it's a good place.
Well, we lost Alvin for a second. He's gonna come
Yeah.
back, and I already know that. I already know what he tried to do just now. Um, Lou, do you have any thoughts on that last one, or are we moving on to the next topic?
I mean, I just think Chicago's a mess. I mean, I'm like, when they re-signed Eberflus to be the head coach and everything like that. I mean, I don't know what they're thinking. I know this is the second year in a row that they've had the number one pick in the draft. I think last year when they gave it to Carolina, Carolina got it by way of Chicago or whatever. So I mean, they kind of they've I. Of course, you're going to say that. Of course, you're going to say we're going to do Best Buy so and so.
Right.
But I mean, they don't care about Justin Fields is their property, right? And they're gonna do what they want, and see what's going out there. Again, I think that if you're a good GM, you're out there seeing if you field offers and everything like that. And I who knows what they're going to do? They could keep Fields and still draft the number one. Still draft, and then
That's what I would do.
And then say, hey, look, if you want them, what I don't know. They hold all the cards. I don't know. What I don't know is if they're going to be able to play their hand well. But I know people want to jump up. People want to jump up to get that number one spot. And I know we haven't gotten to that point yet. I do not want Washington jumping up one space to get somebody that you don't even know is going to work out. I'm still traumatized by the whole RG3 thing. That I do not want to even. I don't even want to go near the GM of the Chicago Bears. There's no need to, because at this point. All three of them quarterbacks that are, you know what? Let me just let Toothpick do his thing, because I don't want to jump ahead. I don't want to be scolded.
Well,
right?
we're going to talk about the quarterback. So
I've already been disobedient. I'm going to be obedient right now.
You did right, because we're going to
the right way
shift into that.
I'll let the host put it out there, and then I'll respond.
Here we go. Well, Lou, I'm coming right back at you then. So in this next one right here, what I want you to do is, in y'all in the chat, would like for y'all to do it too. Give us your top 5, not according to Mel Kiper, anybody else. You are the GM of your franchise. I want your top 5 quarterbacks that you want in this year's draft. You can give them to me 1 through 5, or you can go 5 through 1. Tell me who you want. Lou, we're coming to you.
Man. Lady A and said, I'm going to be disobedient again. I don't care. I don't care. None of these quarterbacks are, to me, that can't miss whatever. For me, I just feel that all of these quarterbacks, they have upside, but they also have shown that they have some downsides, right? And I feel all of these quarterbacks, it's the system that they're going to be in, right? That you could easily get a Stroud, but you can easily get a Young as well. I don't. Yeah. I mean, the fact of the matter is, I don't. At some point, all of these teams are going to need a quarterback. It's the most important position in football, right? Or in sports, right? So you keep whacking at the pinata until you get, who you want, right? But if to rank them, it goes every day. It goes up and down for me. I know the top 3 are who the top 3 are, right? I don't think that Penix, Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy, I don't think that they are in the other echelon as the other 3. But I think that it's 1A and 1B with those guys, because I don't feel any of them really has stood out. That there's no Peyton Manning, there's no quarterback in the draft that you're like, what, there's a slam dunk. That's why that you see all these guys vacillating between who they have as 1, 2, and 3, because on one day you see one thing, on another day, like Alvin said at the combine, who knows what they're going to say when walking back from the combine or whatever. You just don't know. You just don't know with these quarterbacks, and that's maybe a good thing. There's no clear, so all of these teams can probably have good quarterbacks. It's a quarterback draft with parity. Like, there seems to be a lot that can happen with this particular class. So I don't really have an order. I just know that there are the 3 teams that have the top picks. Was it Chicago, Washington, and New England?
Yeah.
I mean, it should go 1, 2, 3, unless Chicago does something and trade. But I just see how do you pass on one of those 3 guys?
You have Justin Fields on your team.
If they believe in Justin Fields, because let me be devil advocate real quick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If Chicago was to make what I feel would be a mistake, but would also keep Justin Holmes and trade that first pick, they could dominate the next few drafts in regards to positioning players and everything, and load their team up draft-wise better than any team we've seen maybe ever, or at least within the last 10, 15 years, because they got a boatload last year from Carolina.
Right.
And then they would get a boatload again from a team looking to move up in that number 1 position. And there are a lot of teams in that 5 through 10 that we're willing to give up a lot. And they could put so many weapons from the wide receiver from Ohio State, Harrison. Wide receivers, running backs, strengthen a defense that lost a few players last year. They could load up, and then you see one more year. If you gave Justin Fields all this and put a team in a position that you can't ask for a better position draft wise, and you still got another year under the rookie contract, and you wouldn't have to pay him this still, and then you can decide. But the only thing you're risking that there will be a quarterback that you want to draft next year if he's not the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
Yep.
Okay, Ced. I'm sorry, Al. We're gonna come back to you to get your.
No, I'm sorry. I was done. I was done.
Let me get yours, Ced.
I mean, I'm gonna agree with Lou again on these quarterbacks that's ranked. Personally, I personally watching, because I watched quite a bit of college football. I don't see Caleb Williams as the number one quarterback. I personally don't. I've seen him make some bad throws in some obvious situations similar to Ritter, but I've also seen him make some good throws.
Right.
I've seen him bail out of a pocket too soon, and then I've seen him stand in the pocket and throw the ball. So it's a mixed bag with him. Then you go to Drake May. There were games where he was excellent, and then at a team they should be beating like a drum, he's struggling. Like he can't read the defense. He doesn't understand what they're doing to him. He has those games, which means he needs more time to read defenses. And Jaden Daniels, like him, like his athleticism. I like seeing him get out of pocket, but again, he takes too many shots. He has to learn how to limit the number of shots on his body. He's a small frame. He's not a very big guy. Tall, but he's not a very big guy. You can't take these NFL guys. This is the echelon of football players. You can't take those hits.
Yeah.
Because he was hurt. I mean, he was hurt for a period of time. And then you just go from there. Bo Nix had to change. He had to change conferences to become a superstar.
Yeah.
It's the paper. I mean, I can't make this up.
Hey,
And
you said
he was throwing bad picks left and right. He moved out to the West Coast, you know.
But he still couldn't beat the best teams.
Slightly less defense being played out there. I mean, I'm just,
he still couldn't beat the best teams out there on the West Coast.
Huh?
He still couldn't beat the best teams out there on the West Coast.
That's what I'm saying. Still slightly less defense, but he struggled. And they want to give him props. He was in the high rule. Cool, got it. And then you got Michael Penix Jr. They're gonna stress him because of the injury he had.
Yeah.
So there's there talent there? Like Lou said, yes, there's talent there, but there's not much separation between them. There's not. There's not one
schools as well.
There's not one you can bring in right now and sit. Boom. Unless you have a team that has pieces in place that can help him. Houston.
You also got to watch out for the Stroud effect too. I think with CJ having such a great year last year, they're going to expect that this year.
That's what I'm saying. They had pieces in place for him. He got to play better because he had pieces in place.
Correct. That's true.
See what happened in Carolina.
And one of those pieces was the coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So again, I get really it really fascinates me. Even us doing this show when we try to slot quarterbacks and everything like that, and even other players. If the coaching sucks, it doesn't matter how good the player is going to be, right?
You gotta watch.
If you can't coach the person, right, and because you're supposed to be able to, a good coach will take that player. Right. Mm-hmm. And so here, just going revisionist history, right? The reason why Kirk Cousins became a great quarterback here in Washington when he was here, or a solid quarterback, was the Shanahan effect, right? They knew how to coach him, right? Yeah, and so RG3 came in with all this talent, but RG3 was not who Shanahan wanted. It's who the owner wanted. Right?
Yeah.
They drafted him. Kyle knew that this guy could play football. And when he was in there, he did not miss a game in the 3 or 4 years that he played for Washington. And obviously he couldn't take him to the next level, but Kirk Cousins is still playing productive football.
And Minnesota said they want him back.
It's like the coaching. You need to have the coaching around any of these rookie quarterbacks, right? To make them successful. And so I don't that whole Stroud effect that Alvin was talking about, most of that was DeMeco Ryans.
Yes. So, and Luke, we talked about that on Saturday
and Slowick, who was here. Slowick was here.
Yep. So
once again, that's that Bruce Allen effect I keep telling you about. Toothpick.
We talked about this.
They should do a 30 for 30 on that coaching staff that was there with Shanahan, Raheem Morris, Slowick.
That coaching tree is serious.
McVay, all those guys that are under Shanahan, it's amazing how much talent was in one building at one time. But the owner and the GM and the head coach.
The curse of Bruce Allen. It's the curse of Bruce Allen. I've told y'all that.
We talked about this on Saturday.
They should do a 30 for 30 on that.
We talked about it on Saturday's show on how on our coaching matter, or does coaching matter show. Yeah. And we got into all kinds of things. And like we're saying here, is with these top 5 that we're giving you, they have to go into the correct environment. They have to go into the correct environment. And we use on Saturday's show, we used Herbal Essence as our person to say he was in the wrong environment with Urban Meyer, and then he got Peterson from to come in, and he turned into a whole different player. Okay, Lady A, let us get your 5.
Okay, so I agree with the consensus. Okay, the top 5 are the top 5. I do feel the order, in my opinion, should be changed. Of course, it may change again. I don't. Ced, I'm with you. Caleb shouldn't be at the top. I just don't feel that he should. I feel that Jaden Daniels should be at the top based off of the trend of the NFL right now. and his style of playing, he's a dual threat.
Yep.
He should be number one. Then I would drop Caleb to number 2. Drake will be number 3. And let's see. And part of the reason for that is Drake, he turns the ball over. So that's not, I mean, but even though he turns the ball over, he can pretty much throw out anything. Anything you tell him to do, he can do. It just may go to the wrong team, you know. So he needs to be developed. I do feel that Bo Nix should be at number 4, and Penix should be at number 5, at least until the end of the combine. And I mean, for obvious reasons. So that's mine. I would put, so again, Daniels, then Williams, May, then Nix, and Penix as number 5.
I love how Lady A just
All
plays
right.
the game. I love it. I love it.
I'm doing the best I can.
She does. She does.
I mean,
He does it well.
I just love how obedient you are to the show host and what he's been throwing out there. I just feel like such a rebel. I'll be fortunate if he asks me to come back.
I'm always going to ask you to come back, Lou. You know what?
The one guy I have not had a chance to watch is the Tulane quarterback.
Pratt.
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 You know, they almost went undefeated last year.
Yep.
No, that's the one quarterback I haven't had a chance to really looking in the tape.
I would put him at 6.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't see, like, again, going back, I don't see any of these quarterbacks being a Joe Burrow or somebody that you're just like, it's a slam dunk. That's why I'm like, you know what? If Washington is bringing in Kingsbury, right? And Kingsbury has worked with Kyler Murray, he's worked with Mahomes, he's worked with Caleb. You should be able to work with any of those 3 quarterbacks, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, it would have been great if Caleb Williams, drops to number 2 or whatever. But if not, if you are supposed to be, this quarterback whisperer and everything like that and all kind of stuff like that, you should be able to work with May. You should be able to work with. I think that the key is, and this is where I'm really excited about what Adam Peters and them are going to do, is getting within the free agency and up in the draft, getting pieces for that much maligned offensive line. Because if you don't fix that, it don't matter which one of those 5 or 6. Now that Cedric put the guy from Tulane, it don't matter which one of those guys are in there. Exactly. If they have to run for their life, because Cosme is the only offensive lineman that is worth keeping on that team. Everybody else,
Lou,
I could have thought I said that last week.
Same thing, and they were laughing at me because I was furious. I'm like, so we're not going to address the line. We're not going to address the line. Every pick, I was
I mean, what happened? This is what happened last year, Lady A. This is what happened last year. They were that whole Rivera thing. They were hoping that they were going to get somebody in free agency, and it didn't happen. So now they had to scramble around and get somebody in the draft, right? Mm-hmm. So now you have Adam Peters, who I guarantee you, while they're at the combine, Alvin, I guarantee you, this man, while they playing chess, checkers, he playing chess, right? Yeah. I think the most important thing that he's doing there is trying to find out free agency about offensive linemen, whatever. So whoever that guy has that quarterback has a halfway decent chance of succeeding, because poor Sam Howell, he did not have the tools at the end. At all. But again, we all know that it was not a fair quarterback competition, because Jacoby Brissett came in there with the same people and did a lot better job.
I agree.
So
lit it up.
We can unveil a whole bunch of stuff now that it's over, but at the end of the day, you are going to need a person who's going to be able to coach that talent, whoever it is.
Yes.
I'm hoping we get Jaden, but I don't want to jump ahead and tell too much. I don't want to jump ahead and tell too much.
Listen,
but if we do,
you can do that, Ced. You can do that.
We do that. We have the number 2 pick. If we're gonna get a quarterback,
trade back.
We listen.
Y'all trade back.
We don't trade back.
We can, however.
Okay, let me
That's
give you.
not
Let me
happening,
give you.
Ced.
Yeah, let me give you. Let me give you my 5 real fast. This number 5 person I'm interested in because they had a couple of injuries, but they stuck around and competed with Hendon Hooker last year before getting hurt. I'm talking about Joe Milton out of University of Tennessee. That's
Okay.
number 5 for me. I want to see what he can do. Also, I'm putting Michael Penix Jr. at number 3. I'm putting him at number 3, but the way I have my list written out, I wind up having him down as 4. The next person I want to talk about is Spencer Rattler. He's actually my number 4 person.
Wait. So is Penix 3 or 4?
Penix is 3. I wrote him down number 4, but he's number 3. He's
Who's
number 3
at
on my
1?
list. I didn't get there yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going down.
Alvin, he's confusing me, Alvin.
No.
I'm lost.
I said,
He said he
I'll
wrote
come
him.
back.
He's number 3, but he wrote him as number 4.
I wrote him down.
Did he start with 5? So is the guy from Tennessee
I
5?
know my Rutgers education. I know how to count to 5.
Listen, I'm going down my list, and the way I was like, he's not 4. He's not 4 for me. He's that number 3. Okay.
I'm trying to follow along.
Yeah. So my number 4 person is Spencer Rattler.
Okay.
The reason I got Spencer Rattler at number 4 is because I got tape on him, right?
Okay.
And I'm hoping that's like one of those Brock Purdy type deals. He's been in the game. He's played. He's been in some tough situations, but he stayed and he persevered through it, and he continued to ball out, right?
Okay.
Jalen Hurts, right?
Like Jalen Hurts. Okay.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
let's go to Michael Penix Jr. Right?
Okay.
Michael Penix Jr. He's number 3. Transfer from Indiana, went out west. He kept hurting himself in Indiana Big Ten football.
Right.
And we finally got to see him do what he can do with some really good wide receivers that nobody saw coming this year. Yes, true. It was Pac-12, and we know Pac-12, the one thing they don't do is play defense. But you can't take away the throws that he made. You can't take that away. And then the most important part is when you saw a defense that plays to an NFL level and disguises coverages very well. And I'm talking about when he played Michigan, he struggled a little bit, but the whole team struggled. It wasn't just him. It was like offensive line struggled to pick up blitzes. So it just says to me that they were not prepared for what Michigan brings. Let's see what we can do, because every coach says we can fix him, right? We can fix him, but we do know that he can make the throws. So he's number 3 for me.
Okay.
Number 2 for me is, my guy Jaden Daniels. I don't have Drake May on my board, not at all. Jaden Daniels is my guy. Why I said this before. He was there with Herm Edwards in Arizona at Arizona State. He went from that coach to LSU with another coach that can give it to you raw and call you everything but a child of God, and he performed, right?
Okay.
Who knew the LSU wide receivers were this good?
They're always that good.
They are, but they always need a trigger man, right? And they had a trigger man this year, and he went out and did some things. And the concern with me is the same thing that Ced pointed out: is you cannot take those hits in the NFL. And number one for me is Caleb Williams, but I don't want him here in Washington.
So that's why you have Jaden too.
That's why I have Jaden. I
like it.
I don't want him here in Washington. Keep him high on that board. Let that young man experience something else other than Washington, D.C. He's from the DMV. He can come home and visit. He can build all kinds of community centers that we want. Go up to Gonzaga, get a library built, whatever. Do what he got to do. Just don't play here.
Right. I feel you. I like that. I'll allow Jaden being at number 2 so that we can get him. I got you.
Okay.
Okay.
I just hope that, like Ced was saying, I just hope that Jalen Daniels changes his game once he gets to the NFL, because RG3 was running all over the place until Haloti Ngata got a hold of that knee. And then now he's acting now he's doing his thing in the media now because his career is over. So running around like we see all those tapes in the SEC is one thing. Running around with grown men that are taught to decapitate and take you out. He can't do that. So if he is drafted by Washington or whoever he's drafted by, I mean, there's got to be that nice mix, because that was the knock on Lamar, that, you know, he was only a running quarterback until, again, good coaching. He got there with Harbaugh, and, you know, he sits in the pocket. You know, he just has to get to that next level in the playoffs. But now he's learned to adapt, right? CJ Stroud, you can see that he's learning to adapt. I hope that that running quarterback in him, whatever, all those highlights that I see him in just running, I just hope that that's like the secondary stuff that he does. He can stay in the pocket and actually deliver the football.
Right.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson.
And Pick, let me offer another quick perspective, if I can. I've been watching Caleb Williams since he was about a 10th grader in high school. His father actually owns the Athletic Republic, was a good friend of mine who actually went to William Murray, Mark McCain, the Athletic Republic over at Marlboro, where they train at over there. He's been training it for years, and they always go back there. So I'm a little biased what I'm about to say, because I do have him my number one, followed by Drake May and Daniel's kid close. But I think but like Lou said, when things are so close, you got to find little things to differentiate from the quarterbacks. We got to upside, intangibles, or something. And in regards to that, that's where I think Caleb wins out, because he's been groomed for this for a long time. And I think it's something to be said for that, when he's not surprised, he's not overwhelmed by the moment. Even like I said, even when he won the Heisman, I think it was already in his plan, and getting there. So I think it's important when you're drafting a franchise quarterback, someone who's the moment won't become too big for, and that's one of the things, and an intangible characteristic that I think he may have over some of the Drake Mays or the Daniels kid, who I think came out of nowhere. I mean, who saw this type of year from Daniels? If you say you did, then I need the lottery number for tonight and for tomorrow. Because
I was going to say, what I was going to say was this. You know who the quarterback was when N'Keal Herring got drafted, right?
Jaden Daniels.
It was Jaden Daniels. And Jaden Daniels is the quarterback at UCLA now, and you about to have two number one wide receivers go. And a lot of times people say, well, is it the wide receiver that makes the quarterback, or the quarterback that makes the wide receiver? Well, in N'Keal Herring's position, it was the quarterback that made the wide receiver.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, we'll see at the next level where the LSU wide receivers go, if it was the quarterback or if they just that bomb, you know. So we'll find out one way or another. But what he did in Arizona State, and everything that they was going through was just impressive to me.
Yeah,
because I would stay up and watch those games.
Yeah, I would too. That was 12 o'clock. That was a 10:30 to 11 o'clock games on Saturday night. And Herm had them boys playing.
Right, and you just saw little things that made them lose games.
Yeah,
and then all the coaching that they had there. They had NFL coaches in college, so he's not afraid of the tough coaching. No. Right, he's going to hear that. Yeah. So I mean, it's those type of things that make me want him. Besides, I believe you can still go to Herm and ask him, hey, what kind of character does this kid have? Which, if he's on my board, I've probably already done that at least 5 times. You know, I don't know. We are moving Ced and Ant's debate to Saturday. Like I said we all have those regular jobs, and Ant hit me up and said he just made it home, so he's not ready. Well, he didn't say he wasn't ready. He said he's tired. He had a very, very long day, and I understand it. So, Ced, you and Ant will face off on Saturday on whether to start a rookie quarterback or sit a rookie quarterback. That's going to be a great debate. That's going to be a great debate right there. So then we'll judge those at the end of that. Lou Holder, thank you so much for coming through for us, and Al.
Wait, we're done?
You got something else you want to cover, Lou?
Well, give it to him, Lou. Give it to him.
I will say this, and Alvin had mentioned the Republic. I went to go see the WCAC championships last night. It was Bishop McNamara and St. John's for the girls, all the 6 in Gonzaga for the boys. Man, I can't. I was born here, but I was born in the Washington D.C. area, but I was raised outside of Philly, and I thought basketball there. You know, we had Camden High, we had Roman Catholic, we had all those Philadelphia Public League players. You know, Rip Hamilton, Kobe Bryant, Rasheed Wallace, all those guys that came out of that area. But I have never seen basketball like in this area.
Right.
Paul VI was ranked 1 or 2 in the country, and they were playing Gonzaga, which was ranked 8th in the country, and they were just playing for their conference championship, right? And Jimmy Jenkins did have the filmmaker did have this this thing called In the Water.
In the water,
Yep.
The talent that is there. I mean, on Paul VI, their whole starting five is Division One. They UConn, Duke, you know, and then Bishop McNamara. They got Maddie. She didn't play, but she going to South Carolina.
Right.
I just am amazed. I know we talk a lot of football here, but I'm just amazed at the talent. And I remember it was a couple of years ago, Jay Wright, the coach of Villanova, said, you know, because he dipped into the DMV often to get talent. And he was asked, why does he get talent from here? And he said, there's no better. He said there is no better fertile recruiting ground for college basketball than the DMV. Coach K dipped in there. Everybody is dipped in there. And it was just amazing to see the amount of talent that the Washington, D.C., the DMV area has in basketball. I mean, I've been to the New York area, been to Chicago, heard about the stuff in L.A. Year after year after year, the number of people that are from the DMV area that are playing in college and in the NBA it's just phenomenal. It's just phenomenal. And if to all the listeners, anybody out there, if you ever get a chance to go see hoops in the DMV, especially that WCAC, that Washington Catholic Athletic Conference, I saw so many college scouts there last night. It was insane.
I bet.
Just to piggyback off what you just said, Lou, I don't know if this still holds true, but I know it held true last year. But they showed a stat last year that there was at least one player on every NBA team that was from the DMV. Every NBA team had at least one player from the DMV on their roster.
Right, and then another one in the Final Four last year. There was a player from the DMV in each one of the top in the Final Four teams. I mean, they're everywhere. I mean, it is impressive. You know, when it all started with Morgan Wooten and DeMatha and whatever. But the breadth and the depth of not just boys, but the girls basketball.
Yes.
I mean, Bishop McNamara alone has had 3 McDonald's All-Americans in the last 4 or 5 years. You know, you know, Madison Scott and Jakia Brown Turner, and now Madison McDaniels. I mean, it is definitely, when you bring it down a level from the pros and bring it to the high school and the college. Man, it was fun. It was packed in that Bender Arena in an American, and it was really, really good to see these kids who are brought up right and playing basketball. I do though, if I can get on a rant for just a quick second, Toothpick, I do think that they are playing too much basketball.
Yeah.
A lot of knee injuries, a lot of meniscus tears, a lot of, you know, I mean, poor AZ Fudd, man. I mean, she's hurt again playing at UConn. And, you know, that's because all she does is play basketball. There's too many AAUs. Yeah. And this is in Ced's area. This is wherever you are around the country. They're just playing too much basketball, not a lot of other sports, you know, and they're playing the same movement, the same thing. And these kids are
That's what I was about to say. I was about to ask you that. I'm about to ask you that, Lou. You think part of that is because now that we used to play seasonal sports. They don't play anymore. Now you play one sport all year round, and you don't diversify your movements and your muscles and your fast twitches. I mean, I ran track. I played basketball. I played baseball. I played basketball. I played up 4 different sports. But now, if you are good at basketball, you just play basketball. If you're a football guy, you just play football. You may run a little track,
You may run a little track.
That's about it. So I wonder if that has something to do with it as well, because you don't diversify your movements so that you aren't doing the same movements all the time and overworking those bodies that way.
I don't know. Hey Lou, you named the In the Water, right? I've been telling my co-host for a little bit. It's you got to go watch Swagger.
Absolutely.
Swagger.
He does a phenomenal job. And Kevin Durant is the
Kevin
one.
Durant's co-producer on that.
Kevin Durant, Omar Cook. Omar Cook said his whole high school starting five was in the NBA. You know, that's Horace Grant's kid. You know, that whole team was in the NBA. You know, and it's really impressive when you look back to see all the talent that has come through the DMV and is playing basketball on a college and then a professional level. I mean, Josh Hart, who's playing for the Knicks. I mean, there's just so many. It's
ridiculous. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's fun.
But, thank you for bringing it back to my attention, because that's where you let me know that when I hit you up last night, that's where you were. You was like, I was at the basketball tournament. So, and I know
it was fun. It was fun to watch that, and it was good to see the again, not just the boys, but the girls as well, and how a girls basketball has come up all over the place. But I mean, it was just good to see the talent that's now going to be going and playing at Maryland and playing at UConn and thing. You know, UConn has another Bishop McNamara. Samuels is up there doing her thing as a freshman. So it's just fun to watch. And anybody who loves hoops, it's just something to and Alvin just sparked me when he talked about that facility in Upper Marlboro where a lot of hoops are being played.
I got one more question for you.
Yeah.
All right. This is where do you stand on the storm in the court? We just had pretty much the number one basketball player hurt, and she's a female, and she's a female, and then we had the Duke guy hurt. Well, I gotta say, for me, I have to blame the Duke coach, because Wake Forest's coach called the timeout so he could get his players off the court. I'm not saying that it wouldn't have happened to a non-starter, but he called a timeout so that he could get his players off the court. But where do you stand on the storm in the court?
Me?
Yes.
So it's almost like, when we used to be outside and our moms and dads would say, you know what, just be home before the street lights come on, right? It's a whole different world now with social media, right? These people they come out there with their phones and everything like that, and they come out there with malintent, right?
Right.
I do feel that, some of these court stormings are for teams that are ranked 15th in the country or whatever. I mean, it's not, when you beat the number one team in the country and you have a big upset, that's one thing. Maybe it's a rivalry. That's another thing.
Right.
People are storming the court now like every other week.
Yeah.
I do think that the security, they could have a delayed storm in the court too. I mean, you don't have to have it where it's right at 3 seconds, 2, 1, and everybody storms the court. You can still have these traditions and everything like that, but there needs to be a better exit system for the players.
Yeah.
And to ensure that there needs to be more security around because I was watching the public league, the championship for Philadelphia, and the guy from Roman Catholic had a game-winning shot, and there was security all around. No one got on that court until it was ready. They can really do it if they want to.
Right.
But I do think that times have changed now, and they have to rethink a lot of the traditions that used to be harmless and people running on, because Caitlin Clark got hurt too.
That's what I'm talking about.
Back, somebody bumped into her. So someone's going to really, really get hurt. And again, those Wake Forest. I mean, you saw the replays. One of those guys, he was looking to give him a shiver, man. Yeah. I mean, he was looking to. So my thing is to go back to your question. Where I stand in it still has its place, but I do think that it has to be modified, just like everything else in this world, because of these devices that we have now in our hands, that people are not going out there just to celebrate. They're going out there to be social influencers. They're going out there to get clicks and likes. And if they kick one of the players and whatever, their social media handle is going to go up. Hey, look, take pictures with them, selfies with them. They're not really going to celebrate with the team. They're going to say, hey, look, who can I go and knock off or hurt or whatever? And now it becomes basically fans shouldn't be able to say anything they want to players, and fans shouldn't be able to run on the court and do whatever they want to players too, because now some of them, it's like almost like targeting. In the NFL, you going after headhunting and trying to, hurt people.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna throw this out there, because there's only one conference that hits teams in the pocket.
SEC.
SEC start out at 25 grand.
Yep.
100 grand. It's 100 grand. Wow. And then the second foul is 250.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the third,
but they got the money though.
Hey.
Not that much. Not if you keep going.
They're not playing.
I heard somebody say if they storm the court, the student section should be empty for one game. Your next game, the student section should be empty.
I just think it's ran its course, man. It's ran its course, and it's like like Lou said. I mean, back in the day when he ran the court, you would see them huddle around the star players or the home players or who won. Now they're going over their phones to jump beside anybody looking for a selfie moment. Like you say, clickbait and things along those lines. So the motivations change. I think it's ran its course. I think, like they say, players belong on the court, fans belong in the stands. I think you should keep them there. And these schools, they want it both ways. They want to have the step shots with the crowds, with the crowd all over the place for the media events. But then they want to also keep the players safe. You can't have it both ways. You're making plenty of money. You can hire real security to make sure that the players and the coach, especially in basketball, you're only talking about 15 players, maybe 7. You're talking a small group of people. So you can make sure they're escorted off the court before you allow them on the court, if that's what you're going to do.
And Alvin, and to that point, I'm not talking like mall cop security.
Real security.
I'm talking people that are packing,
right?
And standing there, be like, look, you batons, whatever you need to do, right?
No volunteers in yellow jackets. No volunteers. I'm talking about off-duty police. I don't want no volunteers. I don't want toothpick out there with on his second job. I want real security. I want a real pistol on his hip. I want a real baton on his hip. I want a 100 to take somebody to jail if that's what needs to be done. Right. I don't want him to take them in the back room. So
I'm gonna tell you now, Rutgers, your school got caught. Your school got caught with the football coach storming the court and the AD storming the court, and not only that, but as they're storming the court, you see the security telling them, "Come on." They wasn't trying to stop them.
Everybody's guilty of this thing because of what Alvin just said. I mean, even bad publicity is good publicity.
Good publicity. Yep.
And they keep showing these shots of Caitlin Clark getting hurt, and now this guy from Duke. So obviously, Duke and Iowa are the biggest names now in the prospective sports because of the tradition. Everybody hates Duke, and now people, Caitlin Clark, people are going to see her. But Alvin is right. The whole thing as a whole, it's run its course. It's like there's no real advantage for the students running the court unless you beat the number one team in the country and it's like a rivalry game. But I mean, then again, it's almost like who decides when it's a rivalry and what's going on. If you get rid of all of it, right? Or if you have it where, again, you can even, Alvin is right. It's run its course, but for those moments that you feel that you want to run the court, you have those people packing with batons that let those players get off the court and then say, you know what? There you go. Right. Because if your desire is really to celebrate on the court, it doesn't matter if it's a second after the game or a minute after the game. That delayed reaction, you still get the TV clickbaits that you want, Alvin. You still get all of that stuff. but at least it's now in a controlled environment and somebody's not getting hurt.
There we go. Thank you so much. I like it. Thank you again, Lou, for joining us, and thank you, Al, for coming back with us as well.
Anytime, man.
Anytime. I hope you have me back, Toothpick.
You know I am. Don't go nowhere.
Because I was a rebel today. Because you asked when I saw the rundown, I was like, he ain't gonna like me because he's asking questions that I'm not gonna answer because they're unanswerable questions.
Well, Lady A always gives me that rundown. She goes, "Hey, pick the rundown. I'm gonna answer these questions. I don't care what everybody else does." So,
so those came from Lady A and not
no, they did not.
No. Only travel arrangements come from Lady A. Only the travel arrangements.
Those questions did not come from me.
I didn't think they came from you because they didn't look like they came from you.
No, because I'm very strategic, and that is not the way that I would have gone about this.
Really? Oh, okay. Lady A's doing the rundown.
No.
Lady A's doing the rundown.
Oh, now I definitely have to come back. This is getting confusing.
I tell you.
And we missing a person too.
Yeah. Ant and Ced AntMoe and Ced will debate to start a rookie quarterback or sit a rookie quarterback on Saturday. We'll have other topics depending on what Lady A gives us. Ced, did we cover everything?
Yes, we did. We hit it all.
All right. Shout out to my son, United States Air Force, First String Podcast, second to none. Come get some. Tell him, Ced.
Go Dogs.
Oh, no.